Hi everyone. So as discussed, we will now be proceeding towards the menu items now because we need to make changes here as well. If you make an empty activity, you will not find any menu folder here. But if you make a navigation drawer activity, then you will find a menu folder here with two of the XMLs here. Let's click on activity underscore main underscore drawer, and we see that there's this thing which comes up. This is basically by default Android gives us these 4 or 5 items which we can use, but we need to change these items because we want our names to show up there, like Taj Mahal, Eiffel Tower, and other stuff, right? So what I'm going to do is we are going to make amendments here. First one is IDs, navigation, camera. So let's not change the IDs and icons. We will only change the titles because obviously, I mean, when you have time, you can change the icons and IDs also if you want to, but they don't really make any much difference for our demo purpose. So I will just change the titles here. Title, first one will be Taj Mahal. Eiffel Tower. Masai Mara. And Opera House. This is done, and now we need to, we'll not be changing these. So what are these changes that we are making? These are the things which show up when the drawer comes out, right? So when I click on this, these 4 changes I have made here, right? And so whatever I was doing here was reflecting here. It will reflect here, not right now, but when I run the app, it will reflect here. I have not changed these, so you can see here icons are same, right? Now let's make changes for this one. So if you just make a navigation drawer activity and just run it without making any changes in it, you will see when you click on these 3 dots, it will show you only settings there, right? These names of course will not be there, only settings will come up. That settings comes up because of this item, right? So we will be making changes to this item. Let's not change the ID again, and titles only we will change. So if you want, you can go to values file and put the titles there as strings and then refer to those strings here. But due to the paucity of time, we will straight away write our titles here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to write my first title as my, sorry, last trip. Okay. And here I will change from never to always. Okay, so what happens is these 3 buttons which you see here, if I put always here, show as action always, then instead of appearing only when I click on these 3 buttons, it will always appear here. Okay, just make sure you don't put always for each and every item, because in that case this entire bar will get cluttered, right? So just put it there for the most important thing that you want to keep as, right? So let's say my last trip was in Taj Mahal, India, Agra, right? So what I'll do is I will put it here so that if any user who is using my app wants to see what my last trip was, they can click here and they can reach to my last trip, which was in Taj Mahal, right? And then I will copy paste this, because after I click on those 3 dots, I want other options to also show up, right? So I'll keep the ID as settings 1 and change the title to Eiffel Tower. I will also change this to never, because I don't want everything to show up on my action bar. Never. This is settings 2. And this is settings 3. So order in category is basically, if this follows an ascending order. So if I change the order, let's say I keep this order as 1, 2, 3, 4, then by logic, this will appear as the first one when I click on the three buttons, three dots, second, third, fourth. So basically the order in which the settings will show up will depend on this number. So if you keep it as 100 only for all of them, then it will follow the same order which I have maintained in my XML, right? So we are done with this. Now we will move to our coding part. We'll not be able to see how exactly does it look, because this is not an XML for a layout, which we can see right now. This only appears when I click on these three buttons, right? So we don't have any facility so as to check it here right away if it looks fine or not, but it will look fine because I don't think we have made any mistakes here. Let's see. So far so good. Let's come to main activity, and here we see there is a huge code waiting for us to be addressed. So what do we do now? We will first have to go to the on options item selected code, right? And we'll make changes here. So what happens here is whenever you select on so right now we are dealing with the three menu, the settings dots that we had. Yeah. So we're dealing with these three dots right now. If I click on this, then what should happen? That will be decided by this. If you see here, a lot of times, Android by default also gives you a lot of instructions here, right? So they mentioned how you can handle this. So we come here and we see that they have written, they have an integer defined here, int id, which has the item which has been selected. We're going to use this. And next thing which I'm going to do here is I will introduce a fragment here. This is very similar to the fragment example that we did. From here on, you will see that it's very similar to that. All right. I'm going to introduce this to, I'm going to point this out to a null, and then our .id.action settings. Oh, okay. We missed out on one thing. I want this fragment fr to now point to another fragment, for which we have designed the layout, but we have not designed the Java file. So first we'll do that, and then we'll come back to this. So to create the blank fragments, which will be replacing the frame layout, I went to the package, right clicked on there, new Java class, and then I had here I can mention the name of the Java class that I want to have. After that, once it got created, I extended it to fragment. Then I have to put a default empty public constructor here, and after that I use the method on create view. Those of you who have watched our session on fragments will know this. If not, you can definitely go back and see what exactly are we doing here with fragments, right? So this is done. Now we need to create three more such blank fragments which we will use to replace the frame layout. So now we have done 2, 3, and 4. Three more blank fragments have been made, and I have also put the layout at the right place, so that now if I go there, I can, see if it is ready to be used or not. Yeah, we already done this, right? So now we just need to proceed forward and give this a blank fragment. All right, and then I type else if the same thing comes here also. So I'll copy paste. There's not going to be action settings. It's going to be settings 2. Let's check what did we do there. Item selected, my menu here. Yeah, action settings 1, 2 and 3, right? So we'll come back here and write 2. So I'm basically making use of these settings now. Sorry, that should be settings 1, 2 and 3. Blank fragment 2. Should not be requiring return true here. Blank fragment 3. And here we will do, sorry, this is 1, 3, 4. This is done, and now we can come here and deal with rest of it. So here what we will do is we will call the fragment manager like we did in our fragments session. Get fragment manager, fragment transaction tx is equal to dot begin transaction, tx dot replace fragment place, the one which we created a main activity, and that has to be replaced by the new fragment which the user chose. And then fragment transaction has to be committed, and that's it. Let's resume our navigation item selected in the next session. See you. Bye bye.